This story happened when I was 16. That night I was lying in bed with my laptop in my hands. I used to do this all the time before bed, so I could fall asleep. Back then, I considered myself an untouchable teenager and could do whatever I wanted. And so I decided to go on the deep web. The thing is, it's not the first time I've gotten on there. 2 weeks in a row to be exact. For all the time that I climbed there, I did not see anything special. So, different dodics with left pictures of all sorts of tin. I got bored with it. And that night I decided to look where I hadn't been yet. While surfing the deep web, I came across idiotic links like I'm selling my nails or Michael Jackson's breath in a jar for sale. To myself, I thought to myself that this was more stupid gibberish rather than the creepiness I wanted to see. So I clicked even further. I saw links a la anyone need a 4-year-old boy and anyone need a female mannequin. I laughed at the last sentence and went even further. Then I started coming across very different sentences, like sell fresh human body parts or sell real snuff movie. And then I saw a link that said don't follow this link or else. For a while I just sat there staring at the monitor, and guess what I ended up doing? That's right, clicked the link. When I did, my laptop glitched like hell. It shut down for a second and then turned back onto where that ill-fated link was hanging. I didn't get the joke, so I clicked on it again. Same thing happened again. I didn't get it again and clicked on the link for the 3rd time. After that the screen went black and a cloud popped up in the center with the message, I told you not to click the link. I thought it was just a bot and someone was trying to scare me. I didn't click anything for about 5 minutes and waited for something to happen on its own, but nothing ever did. After sitting for a couple more minutes, I closed the laptop, put it on the nightstand and went down to the 1st floor for a drink. While I was enjoying the cold juice, I heard my little sister walking around her room, which was right above the kitchen, except that usually my sister was asleep by this time. I didn't pay it any mind, went up to my room, climbed into bed and opened my laptop again. Because of the sleep mode, I had to jerk the mouse to get the screen to light up. And then it started. The screen seemed to look like normal, but I could feel in my gut that something was wrong. Next thing I knew, a cloud appeared in the center again with the message don't ignore me. I thought it was a bot again, clicked on the cross to leave the chat, but right after that the cloud with the message came back. It said what? Thirsty. At that moment I seriously freaked out because my parents had gone to a friend's vacation and I was looking after my little sister. I replied in chat, can you see me? And the person immediately replied, you don't have to write. You can talk. I can hear you. I freaked out and involuntarily mouthed out loud, oh my God. Immediately afterward, the person in the chat room replied, God has nothing to do with this. I started putting on my sweatpants in a flash, keeping my eyes on the monitor, and then a picture of my sleeping sister appeared on it. I rushed to her room and saw that she was sleeping peacefully with the window open. I started to wake her up. When she woke up, we were about to get out of the house. We were already running down the hallway towards the stairs when we were distracted by a noise behind us. Shocked, we turned around and watched in horror as the door to my parents' bedroom slowly opened with a creak. I shouted out, Mom, Dad, and in that instant, I got a text message on my phone from some overseas number. No, but if you want me to be your dad, I'm in. When I shifted my gaze from the monitor to the hallway, I saw the door to my parents' room open and a tall man dressed all in black standing there smiling at us. I was gripped with fear. I had two choices: grab my sister in a wrap and rush down the stairs, or stand still like a retard and wait for this bastard to do something to us. And then the stranger said, I told you not to click the link. As soon as he said that, I grabbed my sister and ran down the stairs like a damn cheater. But the worst part was that bastard chased us. I was flying down the stairs and I could hear his heavy footsteps behind me. And then we got incredibly lucky. That asshole slipped while he was climbing. I was able to break the distance hard and my sister and I jumped out of the house. Then we knocked on the neighbors across the street. They called the police. And in the meantime, I called my parents. When the cops arrived and started searching the house, They didn't find anyone there. I gave my phone and laptop to the cops for obvious reasons. Then concerned parents arrived, and while I was giving my statement to the cops, my mom got to messages on her phone. "Your daughter looks delicious," and I asked him not to click on the link. To date, that person has not been found, and I'm done with my Deep Web adventures for good. This story happened on Valentine's Day. I was dumped by my girlfriend at the time. The situation was aggravated by the fact that she lived across the street from me. So, drowning in bitterness and in a lousy mood, I decided to surf the web. I went to the discussion section and left a post. In it, I wrote my ex's address and labeled it "Come here if you want to have fun." I sat there for a couple minutes. No one answered me. I walked away from the laptop and decided to stop by the store. When I came back, I went back into discussions and saw that there were several replies under my post. I opened the chat with them and got a decent fucking laugh. All 27 replies were from the same user who wrote "Are you home?" Apparently he thought that's why. I myself lived at the address. I ignored his questions and went into the kitchen to make dinner. Then a clever idea popped into my head. I decided to play a trick on my ex and ordered a pizza to her address. I put on the form that payment would be cash on delivery. Let's just say I wanted to make her look stupid. About 45 minutes later, a car pulled up to our house with its lights off. It was late evening and it was dark out, so the car looked suspicious at least. I looked out the window and saw a man in all black get out of the car and head toward my ex's front door. I thought it was a delivery man, except he wasn't holding a pizza. I didn't think it was strange, but I didn't think much of it and moved away from the window. I didn't want my ex to open the door and see me, because she'd know I was playing a trick on her. The man rang the bell, and my ex opened the door. And then something happened that made my blood boil. The stranger grabbed her by the hair and dragged her to the car. She screamed and fought back, but in vain. I opened the window and shouted, "Stop it now," then rushed to the first floor, but I didn't have time. By the time I ran out into the street, the man had climbed into the car with my ex-girlfriend and was speeding away. I ran out in front of the car, hoping the bastard would stop, but he hit me. I flew off to the side and pain shot through my body. I lay there helplessly watching as the car picked up speed and was out of sight in a flash with the man and my ex inside. I lay like that until the real pizza delivery guy arrived. He called the police and an ambulance. I didn't let anyone know that I was the one who leaked her address. When the cops asked me what happened, I lied to them, saying I was just crossing the street and got hit, and I didn't remember the license plate number. No one has seen my ex since, and I'm done with the Deep Web. To be honest, I originally wanted to tell you about what happened, but I was afraid that something bad might happen to me. Why? I'll answer. After what happened, I spent a week in the hospital, then came home. My laptop had long since run out of power. I plugged it in, and the screen opened up to my Deep Web track. There was one new message, dated that ill-fated day. It read, "Thank you." A couple years ago, when I was a high school student, the Deep Web was gaining popularity among young people. I didn't care about it until a friend of mine told me that the Deep Web was cool and you could find all sorts of cool stuff on it. One day I came back from school and I had nothing to do. A classic situation of a typical school idiot, which was me. Anyway, I decided to go to the Deep Web. Clicking on the Tor browser, I called my friend and invited him to my place. After all, he was more experienced in this business, and I asked him, let's say, to advise me. When my friend came over, we went up to my room and started clicking on links. Delving further and further into the vastness of the Deep Web, we saw a bunch of hookups about selling drugs, guns, and other boring stuff. Then suddenly a cloud with a chat room appeared on the side of the screen, with a link and the inscription, "Look at what we have." We clicked on the link. First the screen went dark, and then a nice picture of some building appeared on it. Soon it came to us that it was not a picture at all, but a real broadcast on the camera. A piece of paper appeared in front of the lens that read, "Wanna freak out?" The strange thing is that the person on the other side of the monitor was constantly silent and didn't write anything in the chat room, but just stuck the paper. We stared at the screen for a couple seconds in thought, and then answered yes. The camera then abruptly started moving towards a building, and we recognized it. It was one of the abandoned buildings in our neighborhood. Then a dude shoved a piece of paper into the lens that said "LOL." We got nervous. After that, the man walked into a creepy dark room. The camera stopped in front of a locked door, and the lens pressed right into it, because whoever was carrying the camera was obviously opening the door. When it opened, we freaked out. There was a dog bowl in the center of the dark room. We couldn't see anything else because the camera was constantly pointed at the bowl. Then whoever was holding the camera spit something soft and shapeless into that bowl, you know, like mincemeat, except it looked like sorry shit. Then the camera went up, so we could see the whole room. A man in black came out of the door opposite and dragged some crying girl with a chain tied around her neck. The bastard pushed the girl hard and put his foot on her head, so that the poor girl found herself face down in the crap. Next thing you know, a piece of paper appeared in front of the lens. Awesome, right? Then the screen went black. We sat there in a daze, refusing to believe what we had just seen. As it turned out, the stream hadn't ended, just someone had covered the lens with their hand. Now the camera was filming the view from the corner of my street, and a piece of paper appeared in front of the lens, 545 East St. Clair Street. That was my address. Just then a new piece of paper appeared. Open the door. We didn't know what the hell was going on. And then all of a sudden, there was a knock on the door. I grabbed my phone. My friend and I raced to the exit in the backyard. And the moment I grabbed the knob, there was a banging on the back door. It turned out that someone was standing at the front door and the back door at the same time. We were surrounded, and we were stuck in our own house. Critical thinking is not my thing, so we didn't think of anything better to do than run back into my room, lock ourselves in, and call the cops. When the cops arrived, they found no one. The only thing they found was a bunch of papers with my address on them that were taped to the front door. I told the cops about the building where the girl was being held, and they found it. The girl was 18 and had been wanted for about 5 weeks now. As far as I know, she ended up okay. We sold the house a week later and moved to another state. I haven't set foot on the deep web or the dark web since.